Before I start, I would like to mention a few things here. I used to be a big boy. I used to be 240 pounds. It was mixed with muscle and fat. I used to go to the gym a lot. Some people may know this about me, some people don't. And I still go to the gym now, but what ended up taking my life was fashion. Fashion took my life. Not taking my life as in I'm dying, but as in I changed my body for fashion. That's what I ended up going down the road. But I used to be a bigger guy. I used to have 30-inch thighs, really huge chest, really huge like stomach area. I was just very bulky and huge. Couldn't fit into any clothes. Larges never fit me. XLs barely fit me. I had to go 2XLs. I had to wear 36 waist pants, sometimes 38. I was really hefty, dude. So I understand the pain in terms of fashion, especially Japanese fashion was not made for dudes that big, aka me. I don't know if 240 pounds puts me in the weight of being big. I don't know. Some people would say yes, some people would say no. All I know was I was overweight for my height. I was like 80 pounds overweight. But anyway, let's talk about the fashion industry's obsession with skinny. 81% of the models surveyed reported a body mass index of less than 18.5, which is considered underweight by the World Health Organization. That's extremely skinny. The fashion industry has historically always been synonymous with the idea of thinness. The idealized images of skinny bodies flood the media we consume on the daily, which sends a clear message that thin is beautiful and anything else is not good enough. Many companies use slim models to advertise and wear their clothing, because this presents a glorified image to their consumers that they only want people to buy their clothes, because with these clothes, they too can have perfectly symmetrical faces, poreless skin, and perfectly sculpted bodies. Therefore, skinny is presented as beautiful, chic, and an aspirational norm. This ideology, known as the skinny bias by many, associates skinny with attractiveness and health, which can be detrimental to many men and specifically target women who don't fit society's beauty standards. Now, a question I ask myself is, did the body positivity movement have any impact? The answer is no. And the reason it failed was because it didn't go deep enough. It put all that responsibility for feeling positivity on the individual, rather than interrogating the sexism, classism, and societal pressures that lead to the often violent relationship that an individual has with their body. The only place we really see its effects are where brands have quickly learned to replace the pursuit of thin body types is with the concept of wellness or cleanliness or empowerment, and employing plus-size models for their campaigns, sometimes even forgetting to create clothes in those plus sizing for its customers to wear. It's all marketing, and we all know these brands don't care about the movement, only what makes them money. From a business standpoint, this is perfect marketing. So with that being said, if you're not 5'11 to 6'2 with a 26 to 28 inch waist, 30 inches is pushing it, then you're not made for fashion. And to be honest, don't even bother trying to get into fashion. Now, that isn't to scare you away from fashion, but it's just a very harsh reality that a lot of us, in terms of being normal size, have to come to terms with, because it does get very difficult to find clothing that actually fits normal sizing when it comes to high fashion. And the reason being is because clothing sits better on walking mannequins. Less fabric, less problems, draping and fit, and the skinny form is king. Now let me explain what forms are. Forms are used to display pieces designers create which tend to be quite small, which means they can only really make one size that only really fits skinny people. It's kind of like Brandy Melville's one size fits all, when in reality it only really fits one type of size. So basically what that entails is they need walking mannequins that are also skinny, just like the forms they use when they're creating their clothing pieces on something that, is a mannequin. Tall and skinny is king. Items just fit better, and overall, some brands would just prefer their clothing to be represented by skinny people. And not only do they want it to be represented by skinnier people, they want to sell you or market the idea that you can be skinny, just like these models that they use in their campaigns and in their runways. Because if we have a pair of jeans that fit this model that can make you look 10 times skinnier than what you actually are, will that sell well? That is just how marketing works. And it ultimately attracts a huge crowd of people that want to appear like the beauty standard that is in fashion at the moment, and probably will stay here for a while. Clothing does fit skinnier people a lot better because there's less body to work with and there's less curvage and stuff. So items just drape better. It's less fabric because they don't have to make larger sizes, and that's like one of the things that ends up happening a lot of the times when they are making bigger clothes. They do use more fabric, even if it's like 0.5 inches. Like, all these things change the complete dimension and or the way they're cut and made. So pieces can look a lot different on different types of body types. I mean, we see the oversized type of styles all the time. They just fit skinny people a lot better than they fit bigger people. And I ask myself this one question: why do clothes fit skinnier people a lot better? And it's because it's made specifically for them. And usually, typically, they want to fit this one specific type of person. Because when you have to take into account someone's body structure in having maybe broader shoulders or having more curvage or having different accounts of how body fat is stored on the body, they don't want to do that because it requires extra fabric, extra time, a different type of pattern that they have to make for those certain body types. They would rather prefer to make a specific type of clothing that only fits one type of individual or one body. So with that, would you say that designers are lazy? Yes and no, because like I mentioned earlier, there is a standard, a beauty standard that has been set in place from years and years of just glorifying one skinny body type, that they don't want to create designs for people that are normal sized. And in the sense of marketing, do they want to create this hyper exclusive era for fashion where only certain types of people can really wear it? I mean, we see this with the huge brackets of price gatekeeping or affordability, where only certain types of people can really buy into high fashion or high-end clothes. And not only that, but do they also body gatekeep, if that's how I have to explain it, where only certain people can wear their clothing. I mean, certain body types, that's how they want to be represented. And that's kind of how fashion is just in general. The atmosphere, the building and foundation of what is seen as beautiful in fashion, and also if I were to compare it to bodybuilding, there are two different atmospheres that are completely different. The environment for fashion is tall, lanky, no form, very skinny. With bodybuilding, it's all about being massive, huge, and just absolutely shredded and cut. You want to be massive. So two totally different industries have two set beauty standards, but ultimately, are they achievable? Yes and no. Obviously, getting really skinny or being hyper skinny is achievable, but when it comes to body structure, I can never get rid of my broad shoulders. That is something that I can't do. Or if you have really wide set hips, you got the childbearing hips. I don't know why I said that. You can't change that. And that's something that is very difficult to do because with the shapeless form, does it require your body to be quite stick-like? And you have to just be completely flat all the way around. When you have different types of curvatures with the body, do you start getting into playing a field that is very difficult to find clothing for your own body type? And that is just the sad reality of fashion and the set standards that we have created as a society. But at the end of the day, being skinnier is always going to be the best thing in terms of fitting clothes, just in general. And I think you already know this if you're watching this video. That's just the sad reality of things. Now, the one thing that Rick Owens says is working out is modern couture. No outfit is going to make you look or feel as good as having a fit body. Buy less clothing and go to the gym instead. Now, you can adapt the Rick Owens lifestyle if you're tired of it all. Conform to the fashion industry standard and become a minion to it. Meet right it, but in a healthy way, of course. Now, everything comes to a standpoint in everyone's way of life, where you have to ask yourself, do you want to have a fashion body type, or do you want to go into having that big bodybuilder build? Because the thing is, I had to ask myself this question. Did I want to continue to get bigger? Did I want to continue to stay the same size that I was and have a hard time finding clothes, or just feel very not confident with how I felt and how I dressed and also how I looked? And I think most of us can relate with this. Like, I have body dysmorphia growing up, and I still do very much so, but I don't think that's ever gonna be changed even if I got skinnier, and I have gotten a lot skinnier than I used to just from going on a caloric deficit. In a healthy way, I do support people losing weight in a healthy way if you decide to go down that route for your body's, I guess, proportions of your arms maybe being too big or your legs being too huge like mine. I had 30-inch thighs. That is a lot of men's waist size. So with that, these concerns came up where I had to ask myself, did I want to go down the route of being a fashion dude where I was having an easier time finding clothes that fit me, or did I want to continue to stay as big as I was, as strong as I was, and not be able to fit into a lot of clothes? And I think this is where it comes into account where It's not impossible for you to find clothes, but does it get very difficult? I know I've seen a lot of people complain about like skinny people taking like bigger clothes at the thrift stores for people that need them. And that's just another case-by-case thing where that situation may occur a lot of the times where people just take bigger sizes and you can't find sizing in thrift stores and stuff, but there's always secondhand markets online that you can purchase from, and that's where I kind of bought a lot of my clothes from. Through secondhand, I learned how to haggle, I learned how to lowball, I learned how to get those types of clothing pieces. And I'll discuss a little bit later down the line of this video because I just want to keep focusing on this one main point here is you have to decide on what journey you want to take. And the sad reality of this is you have to accept that there's some items that fit other people better but won't fit you at all. And that is just a harsh reality of just life in general. There's a lot of clothing pieces that I wish I could wear, Saint Laurent, CCP. These clothing pieces were not made for me. I am too big, I am too broad, and I'm built like a man. So those are things that I can't change regardless of how skinny I get. I'm still gonna have trouble regardless of anything just because of genetics, because of how my skeletal structure is. But regret turns into insecurity. And with insecurity, does it become harder for you to want to dress, to go out, to even, be presented in any certain way? So the one huge indicator of progress is having the confidence in yourself to feel good about how you look on a day-to-day before you decide to take that route of either losing weight or maybe staying the size that you are now. You can adapt by buying bigger clothes or getting certain cuts that fit your body. For example, since I had such huge thighs, I had to find pants that were more wider in the thigh area. So I wore balloon fit, wide fit, and sometimes carrot fit pants, and those just have a lot more room in the thigh area because of how they're cut and how they're, made just in general. Now, straight leg, skinny jeans, slim fit, those did not fit me really well. Those looked very stupid on me. So with learning a little bit about cuts and how different pairs of pants might fit just in general because of measurements and how, again, they're designed, did I learn about the parachute pants, the balloon fit pants, the wide fit pants. These certain cuts fit me really well, and as long as you dive into this fashion-based information, will you learn about these certain cuts. And it's really fun to be able to still customize your character. It just gets really difficult when you're not the size that the fashion industry wants you to be, unfortunately. But stay true to yourself and accept your body for what it is, and find what works for you and not what works for others. And I would also like to mention, regardless of how far you've come, you must love your body first before you end up taking any route that you'd like to procure. Now, I'm saying this because from experience, have I gotten skinnier just because I chose that route for fashion? I needed to have that body standard for fashion, but am I still insecure? You would think that the answers would be finished if you got skinny, but the reality of it is that once you become skinny, are you still insecure because you haven't accepted your body for what it is and you don't love your body? If you don't love yourself, then regardless of what route you end up taking, you're still going to be insecure. You have to come to terms and be comfortable with your own skin, because your problems won't be solved by this cause, because the effect of that cause will be insecurities. You must come to terms with your body, you must love yourself, and then choose what you want to do later down the road. Sure, things get easier when you do get skinny and when you fit that body standard for fashion, but at the end of the day, if you're still insecure, you're still not going to feel very comfortable in your own skin. So I want to really push this onto you. Love your body, love yourself before you end up changing your body, because you will still be in the same pit of despair and insecurity. And that's just the sad reality of things. So remember that and keep that in mind. I don't care if it says it's an XL. Sometimes those XLs won't fit your shoulders, or it won't fit your torso. Or maybe those pants might say they're a 34, but the thighs are too small. Measurements are king. Now, you might have trouble with finding clothes in store and online, but as long as you know your measurements, you'll never have that problem again. So my best word of advice is to actually measure your body. Become that bodybuilder, measure out your body, become obsessed with it. Look at how big your arms are, look at how big your shoulders are, check out how big your chest is, your torso, your thighs, and your inseam and stuff. There's a lot of information online that you can use for examples of what certain things mean, but as long as you know your measurements, can you find clothes that fit you? Now for the people that are watching right now, you, my friend, definitely have a piece of clothing that fits you perfectly. Whether that's a shirt or a pair of pants, go grab them, measure out the thigh, measure out the waist, measure out the length of it. And if you know the measurements of those clothing pieces, now you have a guide to help you figure out and also just journey into finding clothes online or even in store. Because with those measurements, can you use them to kind of just figure out if something online would fit you or maybe even in store? I recommend buying one of these tape measures, or it's like tailor's tape. You can buy them on Amazon and just kind of measure out your shoulders, your chest, or your pit to pit, which is from pit to pit here, and also go around your thighs and wrap it around. Everything's usually measured flat when it comes to people measuring out pants and stuff, or even shirts. Everything's measured flat. So if the thigh says it's 12 inches, then it all the way around, you have to multiply it by 2. It would be 24 inches, and that would fit my thighs, I think. It would be a little bit too tight, but I usually look for things that are about 13 to 14 inches around the thigh area, then those pants would fit me. Now, when it comes to inseam, it does vary because rises are a bit different, and also if the rise is really long and the inseam is really like a 28, but the rise is like, I don't know, 16, it would still fit someone who likes 30-inch inseams. It varies, and you'll learn this as time progresses. It is just a thing that you have to kind of gain experience with. Now, my overall message for this video, just in general, is that if you take the time to just accept what is going on with your body and also just with where you're gonna go into life, can you actually really be happy with what comes your way? Because life is really all about adapting to what's being given to you. Whether your big size doesn't allow you to fit into certain clothes, do you have to accept that that is okay and you will find something cooler in the long run? I see a lot of clothing pieces that I wish fit me, but at the end of the day, I always find something cooler that fits me and it makes me feel happy about how I look when I walk out. Some people dress in really huge clothing pieces and it looks awesome on them. It all comes down to the silhouette that you end up picking and that you feel best fits your body. And by understanding your silhouette with clothing pieces, do you have a even better time with finding clothes? I think you'll come to terms with just how things are, and you'll be a little bit more happier when you start looking for clothes. And if things don't fit you, then it is what it is, and you'll move on to something better, cooler, and you'll be more awesome. I think there's a lot of positivity to look forward in the future of things with fashion, because things are changing, things are slightly getting better, and you know, I don't really know what to expect anymore when it comes to fashion. But leave some open conversation down below in the comments section of things that you would also like to add on that I didn't touch on. I just wanted to make this video very quickly, just of my overall thoughts and opinions about the fashion industry and just kind of how it's going. But if this is the one video that helps motivate you go to the gym, then I definitely recommend you doing it, because I chose the path of meet riding the fashion industry's beauty standard. And did it help me? Sort of. Things are still tough to find because of my height, but it's okay, because at the end of the day, some things were made for me, some things were not made for me, and that's fine. With that, I'm done. There's nothing else for me to say. For every time I burp in this video, I'm going to do a push-up. I'd also like to mention that I do suffer from a chronic condition called gastritis, as you can see. Yeah, it just causes me to burp a lot, and I've been seeing some people saying that they don't like it, they don't like my quirk. So every time I burp, I'll do a push-up at the end of this video. Looks like you're still here, and I didn't burp at all in the video in general. So I'll do like 5 push-ups just in case that I missed if I burped at all. So here we go. I'll give you guys 5 good push-ups here. Yep, and it's that easy. Now remember to subscribe, like, and watch one of these videos at some point if you can. And I'll see you in the next one whenever I decide to make a new video at some point. Oh yeah, I also did get a new haircut. Yeah, I look like a Karen now. Do you guys hear that? What is that?